What's up, guys? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. 2 notes here. First, if you see that hype button down below underneath this video, I want to do a social experiment. Hit that button for me. I want to see what it does for overall views and whatnot. YouTube's changing this algorithm around a little bit, and I want to do a little social experiment with you guys. Hit that hype button for me, and I'm going to see what the results are. I'll let you know next week. Then on top of that, we also have links to these books down below in the description. It's a great way to get caught up and help support the channel. And with that out of the way, let's get into the books this week. We're going to start over in DC with Absolute Wonder Woman, and we have issue number 19. Kelly Thompson on this, Hayden Sherman doing incredible work on the art side. Now, we're wrapping up the conflict between Absolute Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Zatara, and the Suicide Squad in this issue. Now, I really like all the characters they introduced into here. It feels pretty natural. I like the confrontations that they've had. I like the show of power in this as well. And I like Zartan being like the main villain that she has to overcome in here with Zatanna's help. And we get to see exactly how in this issue. Now, like a lot of Absolute Wonder Woman books, there are some flashbacks to some demigods and different people that have influenced Diana when she was younger. We're actually imbuing her with some power, some magic in some way. And we get to understand like why people are drawn to Diana the way they are drawn to her. A lot of our characters throughout this entire series and in main continuity, they just feel compelled. They're drawn towards her. We get some of an explanation inside of here, and it's kind of heartbreaking at the same time. But the main thing that happens in this issue is Zatanna teaming up with Diana and taking on her father, Zatara. We get to see what that's all about. We get to pull him out of the darkness, reorient him, get him on our side, and take on some larger threats down the line. So I love these collaborative moments. Again, this series is chock full of action. It's chock full of heart. There's so many surprises and twists and turns and complexities to this character. I think it's the best written Absolute book. Absolute Batman is certainly like the most exciting and over the top and just pedal to the metal the whole time. But like there's something going on in Absolute Wonder Woman that is special, and I just love what they're doing here. All right, next up is Peril of Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery. This is DC Vertigo issue number 3. So we have Chris Condon on this one, Jacob Phillips doing the art. So if you're into books like Criminal, if you like those types of stories, you like that gritty noir detective kind of book, this is a book you're going to gravitate towards, especially if you like a little bit of a supernatural element, like an Indiana Jones perspective. I keep making that reference because I feel like it's going to grow into that perspective. If you like that kind of stuff, go towards this book. I think it's going to turn into something really special. But picking up in issue number 3, Ezra Kane was following a lead of this missing person. He was hired recently. This woman says her husband has been missing for quite some time. He's doing some investigation. He's also tying in what the brutal dark might mean. There's these cults that are infiltrating the area right now. It's all connected somehow. He's trying to put all the pieces together. He starts snooping where he shouldn't be snooping, and he gets caught doing so. So he has to talk his way out of this very dangerous situation, and he gets to do some level setting with some of the townsfolk, some of the past relationships that he's had. This is a very classic thing that happens in these kinds of stories, where basically we do a little bit of a world building. We introduce some of his past friends, maybe a girlfriend or two, and we get to, evolve the story from there. It's also a very convenient way to add more characters to the story, just to spice things up as we go. For an issue number 3, it doesn't really explain a whole lot like you would typically see. It does more world building, and it kind of shies away from the main plot, takes a little bit of a detour just to introduce a few more characters, which I don't mind, but I want to kind of get to the nitty gritty of what's happening in the story. All right, let's go over to Marvel next. We have the Infernal Hulk issue number 6, PKJ on this one. We have the Hellbuster Iron Man armor on display here, taking on the Infernal Hulk. So Adam Gorham takes care of the interior artwork. I do like what I see in there. It's very gritty, it's very muddy, and it's just raw and everything. So like I think from a visual point of view, it works most of the time. It's not Nick Klein for sure, and I really wish they got Nick Klein on here for this introductory battle with the new Iron Man armor. It does not make any sense at all why we made that switch, but like it's fine interior wise, but man, what could it have been? Probably something way better. Not only does Iron Man have the new Hellbuster armor, but he has the Spear of the One Above All as well to take on this Infernal Hulk. So really it's just a matter of, is it enough to take on this threat? What do we do about the army that it's amassed, the city that it's created, and what other surprises are in store for us? We're going to get to see that towards the end of this book. This series makes me feel a little bit disconnected from Marvel in general. It's such a big looming threat, and they do bring in some heroes from time to time to mix in and try to see what they can do. There's other heroes just kind of chilling and watching this all happen from far away, like a satellite station or something like that. And they're just watching Tony take on this huge threat with his like Iron Legion as well. So it's like they're there, but they're not really playing an important role in the series so far. And this feels like something that everybody should be joining up to take on. This is a huge threat. It's going to be a world ender for sure. So not entirely sure what everybody else is waiting for. Next up, we have Spider-Man, Superman. This is the new crossover. This is the Marvel perspective. I didn't have a bad time reading Superman, Spider-Man, the DC perspective that came out a couple of months ago or whatever that was. I think there was more hits than misses. In this one, I feel like there's more misses than hits, unfortunately. Now, there are some redeeming things that happen in here. There's a lot of great conversations, obviously, between Superman and Spider-Man and how they influence each other and like help each other get through like the darkest parts, and the collaboration between their villains and everything is pretty predictable, and we've seen it so many times before. I wish they would kind of, I don't know, just figure out another combination of villains besides like Lex Luthor and Doc and like Brainiac and whoever, right? It's like, and Hobgoblin or whatever, Green Goblin. It's like, those are too obvious of choices, I think. And so that they don't really stretch from that point of view. So there's nothing really shocking or surprising through a lot of these issues. Now, with that said, there are a lot of great moments scattered around here. And one of the ones that comes to mind specifically is the symbiote Venom gets on top of Superman. And so like, what does a symbiotic Superman look like? Man, we get to see inside the issue. And I really love how Superman's able to overcome that possession at the same time. So there are some really cool moments in here. Now, there are stories where some ancillary casts from both sides team up and do whatever they can do besides just have conversations and whatnot. But like, there's little quippy one-liners here and there, and it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek type stuff, which, I mean, like, I don't know what else you do, but, you know, after a while, that kind of gets boring. So again, I really appreciate the effort that we do. I'd rather have these than not have them. I know the editorial shackles have to be completely overbearing from both sides of the fence. And so, you know, I bet they're just kind of doing what they can do with the rules and regulations that they have. All right, next up is Corpse Night issue number 1. I got this one because I really liked what I saw in the solicitation. I liked the cover art and everything. New image number 1. Mystery creative team from my point of view, but I was going to dive in to see what this one's all about. Now, this book does take place in France during wartime. There's a father and a young daughter trying to survive on their land. There's a lot of shady characters around. The father ends up getting murdered in this story, but he passes along some stories, some folk tales and whatnot to the daughter, some impossible things that, you know, maybe it was a story, maybe it wasn't. She kind of leans into that to help bring her father back from the dead. The father seems very well equipped. He was even trying to train his daughter in like archery and how to defend herself and live in this world that they live in right now. So he's going to take on this like zombie protector role going forward because there's a lot of threats still out there and she still needs someone to watch after her. From a single issue experience, it felt a little clunky here and there, but it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the book. It's not too bad. Let me know if you guys read that one. Next up from Image is Death Fight Forever. We have issue number 3. So again, I keep saying that this book reminds me of like every extreme Nintendo game I ever played. It's like every 80s action Arnold Schwarzenegger movie all rolled into one. It's got that same aesthetic. It's got the color palette. It's got the character design. It's got just the story in general, the little quips here and there, the action that you would expect from collaborating all those things together. That's what you're going to get inside this series so far. Of course, we have a brother unit that was broken up in the very first issue. One of the brothers was killed. So, of course, the one that's surviving is on this revenge mission towards the agency and the people that have done that to him and his brother. We have somebody that was betrayed on the enemy side as well. And she was embarrassed, humiliated, disfigured. And so him and her on this very similar revenge path, teaming up to, take out the bad guy at the end of the day. It's not a book that's completely chock full of like satire and one-liners and quippy jokes here and there like you would expect to see, but there is some of that inside of there. And the visual storytelling part certainly fills in some of that comedic element as well. So I think it's a cool balance right there. It's not something as over the top as a book we're going to cover here next, but at the same time, it's very nostalgic and just gives you some really cool vibes and takes you down memory lane. All right, now Andrew McLean also put out Headlopper. This is I don't know if it's a one-shot or it's the newest issue that just came out. Now, I didn't read anything Headlopper before, so this is a cool introduction to the character. Pretty new reader friendly. The first part of this book is let's go back. Let's talk about how he got to where he is, who his band of brothers and sisters are, and the whole deal with the whole magical witch head that he carries around and speaks to him. We get all that covered in the first part of this book. Now, with a title like Headlopper, you would expect a lot of head lopping, and that's exactly what you get inside the series. It is also hilarious. There are so many points in this book where I was laughing out loud. The humor doesn't wear you out as you go. Like one of the books coming up, I think, is starting starting to wane on me a little bit, so it doesn't overstay its welcome from a humor point of view. The characters too really work well together. I think they're fully fledged. I think it's not only about the head Lopper, it's about his supporting cast as well and the unit that they create. And yeah, I think it works really well as a package. So I think it's very new reader friendly. It's entertaining. It goes back. It educates you on everything. It's hilarious. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And I really enjoyed this one. This next book I was really looking forward to for a very long time, In Your Skin, issue number 1. Now, Aditya Bidikar, mostly known for his lettering skills, is taking on the writing duties and the lettering duties inside this book, but I was really anxious and excited and nervous to see what kind of a story he was going to be telling, and we get it inside of In Your Skin number 1. Now, this book is about obsession, it's about idolizing, it's about parasocial relationships. Basically, we have this one young girl who's idolizing this one Bollywood star. This star is retiring very soon. She feels compelled to meet her, to greet her. She's had opportunities to do so. It didn't quite go according to plan. She kind of makes a fool of herself. And so there's these elements in here of like maybe taking over, possessing, becoming. We're going to uncover that a little bit more. Not exactly straightforward for me anyways. This book also feels very personal because a lot of the things that happen, or a couple of the things anyway, seem very random otherwise. And I don't exactly know like where you would pull that from unless you had those kinds of thoughts and feelings and fantasies rather. So it is a very personal book, I would say, for Aditya. And I commend the attempt and everything, and I commend the execution and everything. But there were moments where I was like, I don't know if the pacing or just the flow of this comic totally makes sense to me. I don't exactly know where we're going, and I felt kind of lost at the end, to be honest. Because I have so much respect for Aditya in general, I'm going to be continuing to read this series and see where it goes, but not exactly what I was expecting in issue number 1. Not bad by any means. Interior artwork was pretty great. Great collage scenes, a lot of great coloring and everything inside there. So visually, I think it was a very compelling book, but overall, the story was just a little bit confusing, but I'm definitely along for the ride to see where it goes. All right, next up is Usagi Yojimbo Kaito 84. This is issue number 2. Man, I had a great time reading this issue. Now, I reread issue number 1 to prepare myself for this one, and I really enjoyed that experience going back for, I think it's my 3rd time reading issue number 1. I didn't really like it the first time. The second time, I really appreciated the story itself because I felt like I was distracted by how damn beautiful the interior painted artwork was like. Man, I was like, this is an incredible interior art, and it just kind of took me away from the story in general, but I had time to sit back and reconsume that again, and I think it was to my advantage. Now in issue number 2, we are getting into our heist. We're putting the team together. We're developing our plan. We're putting it into action. And of course, inevitably, there's going to be more people after this artifact than just our main team, and we get to uncover that a little bit inside of here. We also play around with the legend and the lore of the artifact we're trying to steal as well, and so what kind of power it has. We get a glimpse of that inside this issue. We're going to see what the repercussions are in the following issues, but it was kind of interesting to see Usagi, not only his family, but like him himself in like a spirit type of a way. And what is it all going to mean very soon? I don't know, but I'm totally hooked on the series right now. My excitement's caught up now. Like the story excitement is caught up to my interior artwork excitement. So it's a great package. It's beautiful. Love the series so far. Let me know if you're reading it. All right, let's go over to Mad Cave next. We have Exortium issue number 1. Now, the design of the cover of this book and the solicitation got me excited for it at least. So I wanted to check this one out. It's got 4 different writers. It's got 2 different artists on it. And as I'm flipping through this book and enjoying it, I'm noticing like there's not a whole lot of story here for 4 writers. So I'm not entirely sure like what the different roles and responsibilities were, or the distribution of labor when it comes to writing the story. Maybe it's going to blow out here very soon, but there's certainly a lot of characters. It's a space heist mission. I will say that visually, it was really exciting from time to time. Like the getaway scenes were really exciting, I thought. Even the beginning parts of it where we're understanding the heist and why it goes wrong and the different creatures and whatnot we have to escape. And even those parts were visually telling, but like I felt like I was a little bit lost and the visuals didn't exactly tell the story when it was all you were given. There wasn't a whole lot of writing to supplement that kind of stuff. And so I felt like it could have been tightened up from that point of view. The other problem is when you put a lot of people with no faces inside of spacesuits and you have them spinning all over the place and people are blowing up and people are chasing them that look very similar, you kind of lose track of who's who and what's going on. And is that my teammate or is that not my teammate? That kind of stuff, especially when they crash and more of those folks show up. So it gets kind of muddy from time to time when you have that kind of stuff going on. So again, it was the new number 1 that didn't quite hit all the marks, but it's got a decent foundation. I might be checking out issue number 2, seeing where it's going from there, but I kind of wanted a little bit more from that, but maybe I'll check out issue number 2 and see what's going on. All right, next up is the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre issue number 3. So I really enjoyed issue number 1. It was fresh, it was new, it was different, full of satire, and it was just kind of a fun, cool, exciting book because it was selling out as well, and people were exciting for a reprint and, selling their copies for $40. So a lot of excitement around issue number 1. Issue number 2 was all of that as well. Maybe the hype was down a little bit because people couldn't flip it. We were used to the story, used to the characters, and we're just building on what we knew from issue number 1. Issue number 3, obviously, is going to continue that trend, but I felt like I was getting a little bit worn out with the quickness of the jokes and the character dialogue and things like that. I just didn't quite feel as entertained as I did for issue number 1 and issue number 2. There also wasn't a whole lot of narrative push forward for this one. We took a step back. We're mostly focused on some of the villains in this book, so we're not really on our heroes until the very end, or maybe the 2/3 mark, something like that. So it was kind of a step back from a progress point of view. So like I said, I think it was a combination of me just getting used to this series and maybe not appreciating the fast, rapid-fire quickness that this book has. And maybe it was also not having the focus be on our heroes that kind of turned me off a little bit on issue number 3. Not entirely sure. What'd you guys think, though? Then lastly, we have Spirit of the Shadows issue number 4. I really love this series. Issue number 4 blew this world up. We had so much progress, and it all felt well-paced. The artwork is incredible, obviously, from Nick Cagnetti. We have the Spirit basically confessing his sins to the people around him and the characters he's been interacting with and the former love of his life. He met a young girl in the spirit world who he inadvertently killed to try to resurrect his former love. We have her sister, the witch, who's trying to raise the dead right now, and she's collaborating with other folks as well, very dangerous people in this world. We have a lot of crazy things happening inside this book, and you'd think that there's just not enough pages to tell that in a meaningful, well-paced way, but they nailed it in the issue, I thought. The other cool thing is this story is actually rather complex. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of, the second time I died versus the first time I died, and this was my goal, and this is what I was working with, and these people are going to be impacted in certain ways. I think they're handling this complex story in a very interesting way, and it's just all working for me perfectly. All right, guys, that's all I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Go down below in the comments and let me know what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. Of course, while you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the comments.